Hi everyone, I'm Chuck Hilton of Charles Hilton Architects. Today I'm excited to introduce our new video series that we're calling Craftsman's Corner, where we'll go off the boards and visit some of the most skilled craftsmen and innovative building material suppliers in the industry today. We'll learn about the special products they're creating and how they're made. Our firm specializes in the design of custom high-end residences across the United States. As architects and designers, it's our job not just to understand our clients' needs and dreams, but then to create unique, highly personalized homes that will live well for them and for future generations. While many of our projects are traditionally inspired, there's also a lot of very modern building materials, systems, and fabrication techniques that go into today's construction. The suppliers, fabricators, and craftsmen that build these amazing homes are critical partners of ours in making these unique projects a reality. In this series, we'll pull back the curtain and get a behind-the-scenes look at how some of these innovative and amazing components are made. So let's get started. So we're here today at Grothouse Luxury Wood Surfaces in Schnecksville, Pennsylvania. This is Paul Grothouse, the owner, and we're here to find out about some of the amazing wood surfaces that they make, and I'll let Paul introduce himself and the company a little bit more.
Chuck, it's great to have you back. We had you here a few months ago for a panel we did, and today I'm going to show everybody our entire operation where we manufacture wood countertops, butcher blocks, tables, other solid wood surfaces. The building we're in right now is our rough mill. So here we start with the raw lumber, like you see back here, and we turn that into blanks. So we're gonna do planing, ripping, gluing, surfacing of the blanks. Those blanks are then shipped to our other two facilities for final cut down, edging, machining, and finishing. So it's a lot to see today. I'm excited about showing you around. Let's get going on it.
Look forward to it. So Paul, one of the most amazing things is this warehouse and all the different species of wood and the caliber of what you have in stock. It's just amazing to me, the possibilities.
Well, thanks, Chuck. We definitely have a lot of species here. We stock about 63 species in this building alone. So we have all different kinds, and they come from all over the world. So we work very hard to make sure that they're coming from sustainable sources, renewable sources where they're replanting and we're harvesting smartly. And then also, we want to make sure that, you know, it's the right product for the customer. Like, what's the look they're after, color-wise, grain-wise, and then also performance. Hardness is really important. So all those factors get into like what the species selections are that the designer like you would make on a project like this. So, for example, this is a live edge slab. So a lot of people have seen live edge projects, but this is a kind of a unicorn log, and you can see we have the whole log over here. But this log is actually curly, so you can see the curl in the log and the bumps on the edge. So this is a very rare log to find. So I saw this and I was like, I knew we had to have it for our stock, and we've done a couple tables out of this. But you know, again, you get what we call grade lumber, which is more dimensional, and then you get live edge slabs. Live edge slabs are more special, but they take a lot more design and engineering to get the right project for the customer. The other thing you'll see is we don't waste anything. So all of our trims, all of our scraps, we save those, and we use these to build end grain butcher blocks. So we're not throwing anything away. Like, these are get reused. We don't end up putting this into a waste, into a dumpster. And then anything that we do have, and we'll show you later, that is waste, like knots or something like that, we actually make into little firewood briquettes, and all of our sawdust gets made into a firewood briquette as well.
No waste at all.
Pretty much.
Yeah, great.
So the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna come over to this machine and we're gonna plane the rough lumber into something that we can work with. So you can see when the lumber comes from the mill, it's still rough from the sawmill. So you can see actually the saw marks. This is band sawn, so you can see the lines in it. And when it dries, lumber moves around a little bit and kind of adjusts and gets, so this is not, that super flat dining room table that people are used to seeing. We've got to get to that from this. So we're going to show the planing operation. this is our planer. It's not like most planers you've seen before. It actually does both sides at the same time.
How's that work?
So there's a blade here on the bottom. It's actually a carbide head. It's spiral, so it doesn't tear out the wood. And then there's one at the back. So that's more what people are used to, is the top part. But this one actually has little fingers on it, so it feeds the board almost like a joiner on the bottom, so it flattens the bottom, and then it planes it to thickness on the backside. Very, very accurate machine, very important to our operation. This one's too long for our automated glue system, so this has to be done by hand. And we use aerosol to apply the glue in the hand operations. Glue coverage is extremely important in this kind of glue up. You can't have any gaps or any misses. So they're finishing this up. Let's go over to the surfacer and see what the blank looks like when it gets out of the clamp, and we'll flatten that blank out.
Great.
Over here we have one of the blanks after it's been glued up.
Yep.
So we need to flatten that out. So we're going to use this machine to do it. It's a very, very powerful sander. It's called a wide belt sander. So let's go ahead and fire this up, Joe.
Great.
All of these heavy gauge pipes feed back to our dust collector, which is outside the building, and it returns the sawdust to our waste briquetter, which makes our waste firewood bricks.
Wow. And the air's so clean in here. It's great.
And it's really important for employee health.
Yeah.
So what we actually do is we compress those wood scraps and the sawdust into bricks. So this brick is about 30% more dense than wood. And basically what this machine does is it doesn't use any glue. It just uses pure pressure, and it releases the lignin in the wood to make the bricks stick together. I mean, these bricks are pretty tough. So we generate about a third of our total power as a corporation via solar here.
Wow.
And the goal is we're going to put wind here as well to generate basically another third of our total energy usage.
So when the sun's not out, the wind's blowing?
Yeah, it always seems that way. In the winter it's dark and it's windy, so.
Well, to me, this is one of the most important things that you guys do. When we have to integrate structure, it's, you know, you're trying to work with the engineers and trying to work with the fabricators. You're trying to integrate stone, and wood and stone are moving in different ways. What I love is that you guys bring it all in-house and you integrate the whole thing. So tell us how you do it.
So this is the application where the stone is on the inside of the actual wood, where we're rabbiting over top of it. So from the picture, this is a template that we did on site, and you can actually see, you know, where the stone is versus where the wood's going to be. And then what I did with that is I was actually able to do a couple things. A lot of times that stone has that nice kind of jagged edge across there, which we want to hide. So sometimes when you butt those two surfaces together, you get basically a crumb catcher zone. So in order to avoid that, what we do is rabbit over top of it. So in this location here, I actually rabbited over the stone. If I kind of roll the model around to the bottom side here, you can actually see this stone underneath the wood. And then I leave an extra gap in there for the expansion traction of wood, as well as just ease of placement. So we can kind of set this on place on top of it, and you don't even know that the joint exists and that it actually moves as well. So from the back side here, I can also show what this edge profile looks like in integration with the rabbit and the stone. They can see the little bit of a gap between the wood itself and the stone. So I make them aware that there's a gap here. So I was able to show that to the customer and say, hey, we're gonna have that little bit of a gap here, about a 1/16 or so of a gap in the front side. We're gonna force all that expansion traction towards the back side of it. You'll never see it. The top will be moving and everything is completely hidden.
You know, 5 years ago, very difficult thing to translate to customers. But the ability to have like virtual meetings now and have this kind of 3D design software, it's not a lot, in the past had to be a lot more on faith. Now we can really, you know, make sure it's exactly what they want.
As Paul always says too, we're not in the business of saying no. We're in the business of opening doors and trying to figure out how to make these projects, you know, from a fantasy to a reality.
It's impressive. It really is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks, Steve.
All right, so Chuck, this is the laser engraver, and this machine actually burns the wood using CO2 laser energy. It actually evaporates the material and leaves behind a negative space. It's really cool. It works just like a printer. Very cost efficient as well for customers. You can do a lot of neat things with this. All right, so Chuck, this is the CNC.
Yep.
It's basically like a robot attached to a very powerful router. And what we're going to do here, we're going to cut down a countertop that we see right here that actually is going to cut it to size. It's going to cut a vessel sink drain in it and actually a faucet drain in it. So very, very accurate machine. Again, you saw that computer design upstairs in engineering. We're literally able to go from screen to machine using this machine.
Great.
All right, so Chuck, this is where the final hand sanding is done, the final hand edge routing. It's a really important step. Just like a car, if you don't prep it right, you're not gonna get a good looking finish. There's a lot of time and energy goes in here. But then we go to finishing. We have 2 finishes. We have an oil finish, which is a food grade. It's meant for chopping applications. This top, like you saw that Steve was talking about the rabbet on the CAD software earlier. You can see that right here. There's a stone countertop, I'm sure, that goes right up underneath here.
Right.
But this is a great finish, can be easily renewed, lightly sanded, re-oiled, looks brand new. So let's take a look at our Dorada tops. So these generally finish with our Dorada permanent finish, which is a very tough finish, very high wear. You can pour lacquer thinner on this finish, it won't do anything. Doesn't leave glass marks or anything like that. And it gives us a drastic increase in options for the customers. For example, this top here is stained ash. The one underneath is a wire brush white oak that has, so not only colors of glaze and stain, but then also the texture. We find today a lot of people really are into textures. All right, so that's it. Let's head up to the office.
Great, thanks for the tour. That's great. Well, Paul, thanks for the great tour through the factory and very impressive operation and beautiful products. And thank you so much. Really appreciate it.